Amen. We're going to go right to it because of time. You know what we have, before we have Pastor Hope come up, we have a little video. Of her ministry, she has a heart for the nations. And let me tell you something, it's real easy to stay in the four walls of your church. Can I tell you that? When you're a pastor in your ministry, you say, well, I got my people, I got my sheep, it's real easy. And some people are called just to their people, to their herd. But there are people who have a heart for the nations and go beyond the four walls. And God has placed that heart in her. And one of the places that she ministered to and provides for is Dominican Republic, and I'm sure she can tell you more about that. My wife was just with her. Remember, she was with her just a couple of months ago, last month. They went to Dominican Republic, and they do a phenomenal work there. So she's not just a pastor or a preacher and a wife and a mother, but she's a giver, and she gives around the world. And so right before she comes up, we want to show this short video, some of the work she does.
Such a love for the Hispanic community. I don't know. They're just my favorite people. They get loud, they get rowdy, they got good food, they got rice and beans. I mean, I'm just a big girl. I was never created to be skinny. I was never created to be petite. So I just fit right in, eating and laughing and being loud. And our church is a very multicultural church. We have over 20,000 members. And we started out in a building about like this with 3 people. We didn't know what we were doing. We were 22 years old, dumb, young, and we just loved Jesus. And we just wanted to tell people about Jesus. So we just started telling people about Jesus, and they started coming, and we were like, I can't believe they're coming. I can't believe this black guy's coming, and this white guy's coming, and these interracial couples are coming. And they would say to us, we've never felt such love. We've never been in a building, in a church, where we knew that people loved us just like we are. With our issues, with our sin, And I just feel like that's what Jesus wants us to do. We're not to judge people, we're to love people. Because I got issues, you got issues, all God's children got issues, right? We all got issues, and we're on a journey together. And we're all just trying to be more like Jesus. We're not perfect. I'll tell you a little bit of my testimony later, but I fell about 4 years, well, before that, but I confessed 4 years ago. I fell way before that, but I confessed 4 years ago. And I came to my husband, and I had had an affair. And I came to him in a very broken state. And I just knew God would never use me again. I just knew there was no way that He could pick me up, and He could turn my life around, and He could heal all the broken places. But He did it. He did it. He healed me. And I am so grateful today that He chose me and that He loves me, and He gave me a second and a third and a fourth and a fifth and a 12 and a 16 and a 20 chance. His mercies are new every morning. Great is His faithfulness. And so when He did that for me, I told Him, I said, God, if You'll heal me, if You'll change me, if You'll rearrange me, I'll give the rest of my life to serving Your people and to helping hurting people, and to go into all the world and preach the gospel to people who can never give back to me, God. And so my daughter at that time was turning 16, and she wants to be a missionary. So, you know, everybody has these big sweet 16 birthday parties, and I said, you know what, we're not going to do that. I said, she wants to be a missionary, so what, for her 16th birthday party, we're going to go on a missions trip. And it was just me and her. And I took her to the Dominican Republic. And boy, did I get messed up. Boy, was my life changed. And I got down there, and it got in my blood, and I said, this is why I was created. I'm 48 years old, and I just found out why I was created. Just found out. You know, it's never too late for God. You can never go too far out of the reach of God. You can never get so down that God can't take you and change you and rearrange you and shift your life and put you into purpose, no matter how old you are. So I started going to the Dominican Republic, and everything I do now goes right back into Hope Carpenter Ministries, which funds the Dominican Republic. You know, years ago I used to go preach, and whatever we would sell or whatever honorarium they would give me would go to Hope Carpenter. And you know, I said, God, I got it all wrong. I got it so backwards. I'm blessed. My husband has a salary. We can eat now. We used to not get to eat. I mean, we started the church with 3 people and raised all my kids on welfare, and on that, I tell people, on that cheese that don't even melt. I know y'all don't know what I'm talking about. It'll bounce, but it won't melt. But that's how we raised our children. We didn't have anything. And so when you come from not having anything, and then somebody starts, here's $100, or here, thank you for coming to speak, here's $1,000. Oh my gosh, you want to go put it in your bank account. But my whole life has been shifted and rearranged, and now everything anybody ever gives me goes straight to Hope Carpenter Ministries. We feed over 300 families every month in the Dominican Republic. We have totally renovated entire areas with new homes and new roofs, and if you've ever been to places like that, you know that the rain, there's rain at times that comes this high. Kids are out swimming in it like a swimming pool, and just dirt and filth and sewage, and then if you don't have good roof systems, which 90% of the people don't, everything they own, which is very minimal, gets washed out and washed away, and they lose everything. So I determined, you know, at least they're going to have a good roof over their head. How many of you have a home that you're going back to today and you have a roof over your head? You need to thank God for everything that He's given you. You need to give Him praise, and don't take it lightly, because there's people all over the world. There's people in your city who don't have food today. There's people in your city who don't have air conditioning, and there's people in your city today who don't know Jesus. You may not can go to the Dominican Republic, but you can go to every neighborhood here in Houston. You can go to your neighbor's house, and you can bring the love of Jesus to your neighbor. So I determined, you know what, I'm gonna feed the hungry, and I'm gonna clothe the naked, and I'm gonna give sight to the blind, and I'm gonna let the captives be set free with the love in the name of Jesus. So that's what I do. I'm just grateful to be here. I'm just grateful to be here. God could have left me, but He didn't. He didn't leave me. He didn't forsake me. And He raised me up in my lowest place. And I'm so grateful. There's some product back there that I brought, and everything that we sell goes straight to the Dominican Republic, and it goes to feeding those kids and feeding those families. There's some really cute t-shirts. Becky, you got those t-shirts? I think they're just awesome. I designed them. So this one is, Jesus is the reason I'm so pretty. Look at somebody and say, Jesus is the reason I'm so pretty. Yes, He is. And then the Proverbs 31 t-shirt, they're so soft, they're so awesome. There's some teaching tapes out there. And I really believe that it's more important that you sow into your mind than it is your fingernails. Right? It's more important that you sow into changing what you know than going to buy a new dress. And, you know, we get so frustrated because our life looks the same, or it looks like it did a year ago, but we don't do anything to invest into our spirit. We don't do anything to invest into our mind. We listen to more secular music than we do. Come on, somebody. We watch The Real, and we watch all these shows that can't do anything for you. But we don't want to spend $20 to sow into teaching that might could shift and change our whole life. So there's things out there on the table. And go pick them all up, but if you do pick them up, please pay for them in Jesus' name. It's not the 5-finger discount today. I'm so excited to be here. I really am. I love your pastors. Do you love your pastor? Do you love your pastor's wife? Pastor Armando, Pastor Abby? I met them about a year ago, and you know, so when you meet people, sometimes you just meet people, and then other times you meet people and you know that God's brought them into your life for a particular purpose, and you never really find out until later down the road. But I know that God has brought them into our life. We love them. We value them. They've been to our marriage conference. She's been to the Dominican with me on a girlfriend's getaway. Not on this getaway. Right, Pastor Armando? This was a more women's conference type of getaway, and she went with us and her sister. And I'm just so thankful that God has put wonderful people in my life. And then I have some other wonderful friends here. Pastor Tanya Holt. Stand up, Pastor Tanya. You won't believe this. Her and her husband, pastor here in Houston, Todd and Tanya Holt, they started in this building. Can you believe it? She didn't even know it until she drove up today and she said, y'all are not going to believe this. This was where we started. What year was it? 2004. I said, oh, this is not coincident. God's up to something really super here, supernatural here. So thank you for being here. Your sister-in-law, my assistant Becky. This past week I was in, where was I? Phoenix. I was in Phoenix the whole first part of the week at a women's conference. It just gets jumbled, you know. And I'm telling you, that was hell hot. Y'all don't know hot till you've been to Phoenix. It was so hot in Phoenix. And when your pastors picked me up, they were like, is this okay? I'm like, oh, this is heaven. This is complete heaven compared to Phoenix. And then Friday night I preached at Pastor Todd Tanya's church, so I'm here now, and I can't wait to go home tonight to see my husband! Woo! I haven't seen him since Tuesday! We've been married 27 years. We have 3 children, and we have 2 grandchildren, and 1 on the way. I know I don't look like I got grandchildren. Y'all say, right, that's how you're supposed to respond. But we have 2 grandchildren and 1 on the way. And I'm telling you, grandchildren, how many grandparents do we have in here? They're so much better than children, aren't they? They are so much better. They are the reward for not killing your own children. So I tell you, we've had life like this. It's just been crazy for us. And I just feel like I am so blessed today. I love my grandchildren. I love my family. I love our church. I love my husband. I love Jesus. I don't have any complaints. I really don't have any complaints. My life is not perfect. But I am so thankful for what God's done for me, what He's done in me, and that I get to travel and I get to tell people about Jesus. That's the greatest job on earth, is to get to travel and tell people about Jesus. So I am just blessed today. Thankful to be here. I'm glad you showed up. I'm glad you came, because I would hate to have to preach to the wall back there. So thank you for being here. I'm excited for you guys in the 5 acres up the road, the new building, transition. It's going to cause you to have a deeper thrust, a deeper push. It's going to require commitment. It's going to require sacrifice. We've been there. We've done that. And we'll talk about that a little later. But today, I'm going to start out by telling you a couple of stories. I got a call one night from a lady who confessed to me. She was confessing about an affair that she had had, and that her husband wanted a divorce, and she was being fired from her ministry position, and her life was falling apart. And she just said, you know, it's just too much. It's just too hard to repair. My life's falling apart. It's too big. There's so much damage. And this is what I said to her. I said, you will get through this. Nothing is too big for God. It won't be quick, and it won't be easy. But you will get through this. And with God's help, you'll be better because of it. Well, several months later, I got another call from a guy. Ron and I both got a call from a guy in ministry. And he had admitted to some inappropriate relationships, and his family was devastated. He was fired from his job that him and the lady worked together. There was friction at home. He had lost his means of supporting his family. He was losing his cars. His wife was angry. His kids were confused. So he called us because he knew what we had been through. So he called us for advice. And this is what I told him. I said, you'll get through this. I said, it won't be quick. And it won't be easy. Nothing is too difficult for God. God's help, you'll get through it. And you'll be better because of it. Several months ago, about 6 months ago, a young girl came to me. And she found out that she was expecting a baby. Young girl, 19 years old. She's not married. She was in school to be a missionary. She was on the right track, and she had one mistake. She had a one-night stand. She was all alone. She was scared. She said, my life is over. God can never use me. I can't go back to school. I can't do anything because of the mistake I've made. I'm pregnant now. Abortion's not an option. So everything in my life's got to stop. It's got to change. She was scared. And I looked at her and I said this. You'll get through this. Nothing's too big for God. It won't be quick. It won't be easy. But with God's help, you'll get through this. And you'll be better because of it. How cocky of me, right? How arrogant. To give these people this kind of hope right in the middle of the most tragic thing in their life. How did I have the nerve to speak such promise into such a devastating situation while in the pit, while they're down, while they're on the ground with dust in their face? Go to Genesis 37. Genesis 37. You got your Bible? You got to bring your Bible. You got to have it on your phone. You got to have it in your hand. It is your weapon. You can't live without it. You'll never make it without the Word of God. Genesis 37:23. So it came to pass when Joseph had come to his brothers that they stripped Joseph of his tunic, the tunic of many colors that was on him. Then they took him and cast him into a pit, and the pit was empty. There was no water in it. They threw him in a pit. There was no water. And I think it's pretty interesting that they describe the pit as there was no water in it. Water is life. It was a dry, dark place. If there's no water in this well, if there's no water in this pit, it's desolate, it's old, nobody uses it anymore. They had designed to throw him in this pit with no water so that no one would ever find him. There was sticks and trees growing out of it, a cramped space and a hoarse voice, and he was crying out for help. And it wasn't that his brothers didn't hear him. Okay? It wasn't that he wasn't heard, because 22 years later, after the famine had tamed their swagger a little bit, this is what they said in Genesis 42:21. They said this: "We saw the anguish of his soul when he pleaded with us, but we would not hear him. We heard him, we knew what was going on with him, but we turned our back on him." Now this family that I'm talking about, this isn't the lowlifes. These ain't hoodlums, okay? This ain't the bad boys. Bad boys, what you gonna do, bad boy? You know what I'm talking about? This ain't that kind of people. These are not lowlifes. This is Abraham's great-grandsons that we're talking about. Who did this? This is Jacob's sons. The family tree is a family tree of royalty. How many of you know trouble hits every family? Right? Amen? This is an old age version of a dysfunctional family. Family with hearts as cold as stone. Lunch was more important to them than their brother. The scripture says they threw him in the pit and they left and went and sat down and ate lunch. That's a hard heart right there. Okay? They hated him. Why? Because Joseph was the son of Rachel and Jacob. You remember Jacob had two wives, right? Leah and Rachel. But he loved who? Who did he love? The Bible says he loved Rachel. Okay? And he is the son of Rachel. So when she died, Joseph was his love child. He was his special little one. When all the other boys were out playing and working all day, what was he doing? He was home playing. Okay? He was daddy's little darling. He was the one with the brand new coat. They had the tattered coat. They were dirty. He was the special little kid in the family. They're having a family crisis, and you thought you were the only one. You thought you were the only family who had problems. This is the royal family. They took Joseph, they stripped him, they beat him, they threw him in a pit, they wanted to kill him, and they wanted to cover it up and say that a beast ate him. This is Cold Case Files. Y'all ever seen that? This is CSI Houston. They beat him, they stripped him, they threw him in a pit, and they said, now let's have a cover-up for it. A beast came and ate him. But here's the point. Here's the point in the whole story. Joseph was going about his merry day. Joseph never saw this coming, and neither did you. It caught Joseph off guard. It doesn't every tragedy in our life. Joseph never saw it coming. Maybe yours came in the form of a diagnosis. Maybe yours came in the form of a foster home. Maybe yours came in the form of a divorce. Maybe yours came in the form of a rape or a betrayal or an abortion. Joseph was thrown in a pit and forgotten. You might have been thrown into an unemployment line and lost everything. You might have been thrown into a divorce and abandoned. You might have been thrown into a bed and abused. And your life was reduced to this one thing. Get me out of this pit. Get me out of this situation so that I can never be hurt again. It's not easy because pits don't have easy exits. Think about it. They don't have easy exits. And Joseph's story got worse before it got better. He was abandoned, he was enslaved, he was entrapped, and then he was in prison. But he never gave up. Joseph never gave up. Bitterness never gripped his heart. Anger never hardened him. He not only survived, he thrived. And I think this is where we miss it. Joseph never gave up. He was elevated to chief servant. He was promoted from being in the jail to being over all the inmates. Pharaoh, the highest ruler on the planet, made him prime minister. Read his story. And by the end of his life, he was second in charge of the whole nation. He saved the world from starvation. If you would read Joseph's resume, if I could write it out for you. Joseph, son of Jacob, hated by his family, mistreated, lied on, sold out, slave, graduated from the School of Hard Knocks with honors. He's the director now of global effort to save humanity. He succeeded. He got through it. Joseph got through the tough times. Nothing was too big for God in his life. It wasn't quick. It wasn't easy. But with God's help, he got through it. And he became better because of it. So 20 years later, fast forward 20 years later, his brothers came to him because they were in need now. They were starving. The roles were reversed. And guess who had food? Joseph had food. They came to him in fear that Joseph would settle the score. Now, if it was me, I'd have kept all that food. I'm telling you, I know me. I'd have kept that food, and jokers would have been hungry for a real long time. They would have had to beg. They would have had to grovel. I said, say it louder. You did what to me? Huh? What? Who did? You did? Oh, really? Okay, so keep begging. You want to work for me? See, that's how we are. We want to pay people back. Right? So roles were reversed, and they came to him. But he didn't. He didn't do it. And 20 years later, here's his explanation. This is one of my favorite scriptures in the Bible. Go to Genesis 50. This is the theme of my life. Genesis 50:20. This is what he said to him. He said, as for you, you meant evil against me. But God meant it for good, in order to bring about right now this present result, to preserve many people alive. You meant evil against me, but God. Somebody needs to slap their hands in the air and say, but God. God had a different plan for my life. You might have been evil against me, but God used it for the salvation of many. If he had never been put in a pit, if he would have never been thrown away, he could have never risen to the top to turn around and save an entire generation. You're here today because Joseph was thrown in a pit. Do you realize we are here today because Joseph went through what he went through? In God's hands, intended evil becomes good. In God's hands. Process always has a purpose. Your process may not look good to you. You may not like what you're going through. You may not understand. But the prize on the other side is always worth the process. Nothing in this story glosses over any pain. I'm not trying to say that it's not hard. And he didn't go through a lot. And there weren't blood stained and tears and scared and alone. But God always redeems the pain. How many of you can say, I know, I can look back over my life and see where God has redeemed the pain in my life. It wasn't quick, it wasn't easy, but I did get through it. His torn robe became a royal robe. His pit became a palace. His broken family, listen, his broken family was reunited and lived a long life together. You meant evil against me, Joseph told his brothers. And that word meant, I'm going to teach you something today. That word meant is a Hebrew verb meaning to weave or to plait. How many of you ever weaved or plaited your children's hair? And you take one piece and you put it over another, and you pick up one from the bottom and you put it over the top. Do y'all hear what I'm saying right now? He said, you wove evil against me, but God intricately the devil has woven those bad things in your life. God is on the other side, intricately reweaving them in your life so that you come out like gold. God is the master weaver. If you can hear me today, He stretches the yarn and He intertwines the colors, the ragged twine with your life with the royal strands. I'm telling you, the pain and the pleasure, the ups and the downs, the good and the bad, God meant it for good in order to bring about. Bring about is a construction term. Don't you hate construction on the interstate? That word bring about is a construction term. Do we have anybody in here who does construction? Anybody in here who does construction? We have it so bad in Greenville. I feel like our roads are never going to get fixed. Ever going to get fixed. It's always like they are working on something and there's a 1 lane a year. Signs, cranes, workers, delays. It's so frustrating. And when you drive through it, you're like, how long is this going to last? But the designer of that project has a different attitude toward the project. Do you hear what I'm saying to you today? Toward the chaos. The designers of the project, they endure the same chaos. They endure the same delays. They endure it with a different attitude. Why? They know that it will eventually get finished. It just takes time. It's doable, and it will be better for you in the end. God is the master designer of the project in your life. He knows what it takes to bring about an expected end. It will get finished. God's the master weaver. He's the master builder. He redeemed the story of Joseph. Can't He do it for you? Why do you think He's not going to do it for you? God doesn't pick and choose when He's going to be faithful. The attribute of God is that He is faithful. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. And if He did it for you in the past, He's going to do it today, and He's going to do it in the future. God doesn't change. God doesn't change. You will get through this. You fear you won't. I know you do. I know you fear you won't. We all do. We think the depression will never lift. We think the screaming and fighting will never stop. We think the pain will never leave. Daniel had a lion's den, but he got out. Peter had a prison, but what happened? The walls came down. Jonah had a well. David had a Goliath. There was disease for the lepers. There was doubt for Thomas. There was death for Lazarus. But God just gets you through stuff. God just has a way of getting you through. How many of you could say, God has got me through so many things that I never thought I would come out of. God just gets us through stuff. He gets us through the rinse. He gets us through the wilderness. He gets us through the valley of the shadow of death. He gets us through the fire. He gets us through the giants. He gets us through the storms. Isaiah 43:2 says this, when you pass through the water, I will be with you. And through the rivers, I will not overflow you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned, nor the flames scorch you. It doesn't say you won't go through stuff, but it says you will come out better on the other side. It won't be painless. God knows it ain't painless. It won't be quick. And sometimes God just takes His time, right? I mean, God's ways are not our ways. He's not even in time like we're in time. He's in eternity. And we think it's taken an eternity, right? With what God's doing with us. Joseph was 17. Listen to this. Joseph was 17 when he was abandoned and thrown in that pit. And it was he was at least 37 when he saw him again. It took 120 years for Noah to prepare the ark. He preached the same message every Sunday. It's going to rain. today. Guess what the message is today? It's going to rain. 120 years it took him to prepare the ark. 80 years to prepare Moses to do anything. 80 years. Moses, 80 years. Before he did anything. Jesus was on earth 3 decades before he built anything other than a kitchen table. How long will God take with you? It's not in minutes. It's not in days, but it's over a lifetime that we see the plan of God being revealed. God will use your mess. Look at somebody and say, God's going to use your mess. Say, why are you doubting him? Come on, slap somebody and say, God's going to use your mess. Slap them. Just say, wake up. God's going to use your mess. We see a mess, but this is what God sees. God sees a chance to train, to test, to teach future prime ministers, future world changers, future history makers, future youth pastors, future marriage counselors. How can you tell anybody about marriage unless you've been through something? Come on, somebody. If you could talk to Joseph, if you could talk to me, if you could talk to that little girl who found herself pregnant after a one-night stand, we would all say this one thing. The pit forces you to look up. The pit forces you to look up. Somebody from up there has got to come down here and help me. Somebody from up there. I need help! I'm stuck and I can't get out. I'm at a place I thought I would never be. I'm lost and I'm broken. Somebody from up there, please come down here and help me. Cry out to God. Cry out to God. And at the right time, I promise you he will do it for you. I promise you he will do it for you. I don't know what you're going through, but I know God sent me here to tell you that he's waiting on you to cry out in your deepest, darkest pain, in your most broken, vulnerable state. You feel like God's left you. You feel like your life is over. You feel like you can't do anything for God. You feel like you've just screwed it all up. You've done too much. It won't be quick. And it won't be easy. But you will get through this with God's help. And the best part is, you'll be better because of it. You'll be better because of it. I'm a witness. I know thousands of people who have gone through the fire and they came out and you couldn't even smell smoke on. I know testimony after testimony after testimony. Who thought it was just too much, who thought it was too big, who thought it was too deep, who thought they'd done too much. And if you're in the pit right now, and if you're in a lonely place in your life and you need to cry out to somebody up there, and you know who I'm talking about, to come down to help you. I want to encourage you today, and I want to lay hands on you and pray for you. Laying hands on people doesn't get you out of the pit, but it can break depression off your life. It can I can activate the grace of God in your life. Sometimes you just need fresh grace. The Bible says you have grace for the day you're in. You don't think you can make it. But the Bible says he gives you grace for the day that you're in. And his mercy kissed you this morning when you woke up. When you woke up this morning, you are not going to get what you deserve. That's what mercy is. You don't get what you deserve. You woke up this morning and the mercy of God kissed you and said, my grace is sufficient for you. You obtain mercy. Find grace. in your darkest times. It won't be quick. See, we like instant, right? I hate instant grits. I won't even eat them. If you don't put them on the stove and boil them, I ain't eating them. Instant grits ain't good. I don't like instant coffee. It's nasty. But we're so used to quick fixes. I hate the gym. I hate it. I go in there and I hurt for days and don't see nothing. Go back and hurt for more days. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I need some French fries or something. I need some comfort food. I'm in pain. But we're so used to quick things and quick fixes in our life. Drive-thrus. We want somebody to lay hands on us. We really do. And shama-lama-ding-dong and some fairy dust fall out of the air and we wake up and everything's great. It doesn't work like that. Life is a process. And I really think God designed it that way. He is teaching me so much about trust. I trust Him with my life. He rescued me from a pit. And I am sure I have a sure foundation. No matter what comes now, I know that that's who He is. It may not come like I want it, and it may not be as quick as I want it. But God's going to do it. He's faithful. God is faithful. He loves you so much. I think we really don't understand how much He loves us. He loves you. He wants you to succeed. He wants you happy. He wants you blessed. But because He is such a good daddy, He knows sometimes our butt needs to be chapped. I love my kids, but I beat the snot out of them. Beat the snot. I'm talking about one of them. I had to take my shoe off and ring him upside the head. He ran for me. I said, oh, to the no. Ain't nobody running for me. You getting double. And see, we run for God. And we don't understand why we got pain. We refuse to submit. And we wonder why we have to be set down, put in time out. Trust Him with your life. Trust Him with your life. He loves you. He knows what you need.